Hey, happy Monday before Christmas. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. My name is meteorologist Taylor Cox, and I am obviously not on the green screen today. I am actually forecasting from home, spending some time with my family this week. So you're going to see a little bit of a different background here. Since I'm producing and forecasting at the same time, I am going to check my audio real quick. Okay, so let me make sure my audio sounds good. So that means if I can hear myself, you can probably hear me as well. Let's jump right into the forecast today. We have showers and storms on the way in the form of, and let's get this going here. All right, there we go. In the form of strong to severe storms. Okay, so we do have that risk for hail in the forecast this week. That would be mainly for Texas. What we're watching for here is isolated storms, so not everyone is going to see those strong to severe storms, but those who do could have some of that larger hail. You could see some strong winds out of this as well. Okay, that's not our only big headline in the forecast. We're also talking about a warm week ahead, about 15 to 20 degrees above average, and we've got storms after Christmas. So not only before Christmas, but also after Christmas, we're expecting those storms to arrive and initiate over the plains. So we're talking about Texas and Oklahoma here. And that is where we will end our I want to call it a work week, because it ends on Friday, but that is where we end our Christmas week. There we go. We'll call it Christmas week. All right, let's go around the radar here. What did we see over the last 24 hours? Nothing terribly exciting in terms of severe weather. We had some showers and storms out to the west. We'll talk about that just a little bit here. That's coming in the form of rain and snow. We're pretty quiet across the plains right now. More of that lake effect snow and truly just snow in general across the Midwest and in our New England states. Moving on to our snowfall totals over the past 24 hours, it's mainly higher elevations and closer to the Great Lakes who have gotten snow so far. Not too many people setting up to have a white Christmas quite yet. Maybe some out in New England, but for the most part, look at those temperatures. We are way above average for this time of the year. Temperatures are about 10 to 15 degrees above average for most of the plains and for most of the western side of the US. And that's going to stay pretty consistent over the next 24 to 48 hours, at least, if not through the rest of the work week and after Christmas as well. Looking ahead to tomorrow, a lot of those colder temperatures out on the East Coast start to move out to the east, and we're warming back up across most of the US. So we're above average today. We're above average for everyone tomorrow. Taking a look at your current temperatures now as this graphic loads. Let's see, there we go. There's your current temperatures. We'll do a little around the radar here. So current conditions first. There we go. High pressure system sitting off to the east coast will be moving out to the east, cooler temperatures moving out along with it. That'll give way for some of the snow to move in over the next 24 hours. You can see that right now all of that snow and rain is sitting anywhere from the Midwest all the way out to places like Missouri and Kansas. But then if you look farther up to the north, you're seeing more of that snow moving into New York. Okay, we've got showers moving just off the coast of Georgia and Florida right now, but nothing to be concerned about. And we've got some pretty good cloud cover over Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas today. However, nothing severe. You may see some light rain out there. Pretty quiet across the West Coast. However, that is all changing in the next 24 hours, and I'll show you exactly what to watch for. Actually, do you see off in the corner of your screen? I'm not quite sure you can see my cursor here, which is a bummer because I'd love to point this out to you. But if you look just under the Hail Trace logo on the map here, okay, so just where that Portland sign is off on the West Coast, you see a dip in all of those black lines. That signals to us that something big is coming. So what we're watching for here is a low pressure system that right now is just off the West Coast in the Pacific. However, as this continues to move a little bit closer to land, you're going to see more rain and snow in the upper elevations. All right, let's move on. Oh, we're going to talk about temperatures real quick. Temperatures obviously much colder out to the east, as we talked about earlier. We've got the 20s and the 30s, anywhere from Portland, Maine, all the way to New York. A little bit warmer farther down to the south, 70s in Houston. I'm sure that feels amazing. We've got 70s in Miami as well, 58 in Oklahoma City. So not too bad. Whenever I walked outside earlier, I think I'd be fine in a vest, may not even need that jacket today. So really not too bad. Taking a look at your current alerts, we do have our winter weather advisory in effect until Tuesday. We're not expecting a ton of snow here, and I love to talk about this because a ton of snow for New England is, up to feet of snow. You're talking about Michigan, you talk about 1, 2, 3 feet, that's a ton of snow for them. However, and you may not be able to see that because here, let's see if we can actually move this box. There we go. Out of the way here. That winter weather advisory is in effect for about 4 to 6 inches of snow for those areas highlighted in purple. And I think that may honestly be overdoing it just a little bit. So we're not expecting a ton of snow out of this, 4 to 6 inches down in Oklahoma. We would absolutely love, that would be a lot of snow for us. However, up in our New England states, not terribly impressive. So there you go. There's your snow that's coming in. There's your future radar over the next 24 hours. All of that snow up in New England. You follow that line down through Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, into Missouri, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. It looks like a pretty soggy overnight for us. We're expecting some light rain as we head into the overnight hours for Oklahoma. Look at all of those showers and storms popping up in Oklahoma. Here we go. We can actually zoom down and see that overnight tonight and into early tomorrow morning. Now, we don't have a risk. However, that doesn't rule out a strike of lightning, a rumble of thunder, maybe some loud storms to wake you up by overnight tonight and into early tomorrow morning. Instead of talking about a white Christmas, I know a lot of people have started calling this a wet Christmas or even a brown Christmas, because what is all of this rain going to do? It's going to make it really soggy out there. My poor little dog, who is in town with my parents right now, is going to have her paws washed off every single time she comes in from their backyard, because it gets pretty muddy out there pretty easily. So that's what we're watching for. For Christmas Eve, you may wake up to some wet weather out the door, but that's not what we're talking about for our severe weather. Our severe weather actually comes in on Tuesday. So here we are. You can see a lot of that unstable air. Those greens and blues start to reach up into Texas. Your hail model, especially for December, looks pretty good for this time of the year. Take a look at this. We've got some yellows start to mix in, and actually I'm going to extend this graphic out just so there we go. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you. Right there in between Dallas and Houston, that is where we're expecting the greatest risk for strong to severe storms, isolated large hail. Okay, again, key word here, isolated. Isolated large hail. That does not mean that everyone's getting hail. That doesn't even mean that we'll see at least one hailstorm that will produce decent sized hail, right? But we have the potential to see at least 1, 2, maybe 3 hailstorms with some pretty decent hail in there. I like this model. This model is looking pretty impressive for this time of the year. Look at that. We've even got a little bit of orange popping up in there into the evening hours on Tuesday. So pretty impressive for the end of December. Okay, no complaints there. Let's move on and let's take a look at that hail forecast. Here's your hail forecast. Most likely what we're going to see is hail smaller than the size of a quarter or up to the size of a quarter. Now, don't turn off your screens quite yet. You say, okay, quarter-sized hail, whatever. I think that maybe 1 or 2 of these storms could produce up to ping pong ball-sized hail. However, again, keyword here, isolated. We could get that storm out in East Texas, where no one is, That's definitely a possibility, okay? But we have a low risk. We have a low risk here for just outside of Dallas, into Waco, into Austin, and including Houston on this as well. What we're watching for here is a surge of moisture coming up from the Gulf, moving up to the north, and then just ahead of a cold front, we're getting that forcing along with it, and that's going to create this risk for strong to severe storms. So there's your level 1 risk here. All right, let's move on here. Let's talk about, what do we have next on the docket here? Oh, hail sizes, as I mentioned. Yeah, we're talking about mainly marble, penny, nickel, quarter-sized hail, but could you get up to ping pong ball-sized hail? I think it's possible. Seeing that hail forecast map, seeing your significant hail outlook, I do think that it's possible to get one isolated ping pong ball-sized hail report. Now, again, where will this be? That's the big question, right? All right, let me grab my graphics. Okay, there we go. So, ping pong ball-sized hail. Here, I'll move my box over to this side. Is possible on Tuesday. I know it says today on my graphic, but it should be Tuesday. All right, moving on here. Wind forecast. The other thing that we have to consider here is that wind potential. Now, we've talked about that hail potential. We've talked about the wind potential as well. I think that wind will probably be a more widespread risk here, where you may see just very isolated hailstones. I think you're going to see better chances for high wind. So still in the low category, about 60 to 65 mile per hour wind speeds are possible with these isolated strong to severe storms. So whenever you break it all down and you look at each risk individually, large hail, about a 2 out of 8 chance. High winds, about a 3 out of 8 chance. And then we're talking about that tornado risk, very, very low. And if we want to talk about that flooding risk, we've got it at a level 1. So I've also got it in the low category. It's going to be that spot in your neighborhood that always seems to flood. You know, that area that you just have to always watch out for. That's probably where you're going to see that risk for large hail. Excuse me, for flooding. Getting everything confused here. That's what you get whenever you get to watch me produce and forecast at the same time. I've got like 10 different buttons I'm clicking all at the same time. So that's just what we get sometimes, right? That's the beauty of vacationing, is that you got a lot of work from home, right? Let me zoom down to your forecast for tomorrow. So now we're talking about Tuesday. I'll talk about that radar and we'll go down to Texas in just a few minutes. I want to very briefly mention that we've got showers moving off the west coast. I mentioned about that storm system that's coming into the Pacific Northwest, and that's bringing all of this snow up in the upper elevations and then rain down towards the surface. Here is your forecast for tomorrow. So let's start with storm initiation in the afternoon. Let's see if we can move down there. Maybe. My graphic doesn't seem to want to load. Okay, there we go. So storm initiation will start in the afternoon hours, mainly back to the west. Okay, so we're talking Dallas all the way up to southeastern Oklahoma, and then moving to the south as we head into the evening hours. We saw that peak unstable air right around 6 to 7 o'clock. So I think that's whenever we could have the best chance for strong to severe storms. This will continue to track to the east into Louisiana through the overnight hours Tuesday and into Wednesday morning. So if you live in states like Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, you probably will wake up with rain on Christmas morning, okay? Santa's gonna have to fly in some of this wet weather as he drops off all of those presents Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. And unfortunately, this may make for a very soggy Christmas day for a lot of people. You may not be able to get out and enjoy all of those new Christmas presents because of this soggy wet weather. The good news here is we're not expecting any strong to severe storms on Wednesday at this point. Now that could change as we get more information over the next few days, but at this point we are not expecting any of that severe weather on Wednesday, on Christmas Day. So hopefully that alleviates a lot of those tricky travel issues that you may run into, because I know that for Christmas we always run into travel issues, right? All right, moving on here. Taking a look at your future radar, let's see, we just talked about Tuesday into Wednesday. Moving on here. We've got some snow. We talk about tricky travel. We've got some snow out into our New England states. That's going to definitely mess up your travel for Tuesday. Now, this may be alleviated by Wednesday. So Christmas Eve, give yourself plenty of time at those airports, because you could see some travel issues in those airports if you're headed to any New England states. What about your snowfall totals here? Again, mainly upper elevations. We've got some snow coming into Northern California. We've got snow all the way up. If you follow the mountain range here, you can go all the way up to Washington and Oregon with some of that snow, even some snow coming into our upper elevations in Colorado. So that is definitely going to be good for skiing. I know a lot of people go skiing for New Year's and even the week after New Year's. So that's going to be great. You've got some fresh powder for all of those fun ski trips. In the next few weeks, the best chances for snow and really good snowfall totals for our New England states will be farther up north, right? So we're talking about northern New York, we're talking about Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire. Those are all of the areas that we're watching for higher snowfall totals. The farther south that you go and the farther to the coast that you get, your snowfall totals are going to go down. All right, let's talk temperatures now as well. I've been talking about temperatures above average for the week of Christmas. Now for what, 1, 2, 3 weeks we've been talking and teasing about this warm weather that we're going to have for Christmas. What are we talking about here? So tomorrow temperatures are going to top out anywhere from the 40s to the 50s for most of us. We've got the 60s the farther south you go, even the 70s out in Texas and Florida. And if you've watched our forecasts before, you know that I love to play the game. Who is the warmest on the map? And I think this one actually may surprise you. Our warmest temperature is in San Antonio. Not even our southernmost community. We're talking about San Antonio for our warmest temperature. Not too surprising, I guess, but usually we either have Corpus Christi, Houston, or Miami. Those are usually our warmest, but hey, San Antonio gets thrown in there every now and then. 78 on Christmas down in Texas. What about Christmas Day? Well, let's see. We've got the 50s through Oklahoma City, 40s in Denver, not too bad there. 30s the farther north you go through the Midwest and our New England states. And then for our southeastern communities, 50s and 60s for the most part. I picked one of our cities for today, especially because we're getting rain in this area on Tuesday. So this is your Christmas Day forecast. Thankfully, it looks dry in Dallas on Wednesday, excuse me. We've got rain on Tuesday, dry on Wednesday. There we go. So pretty dry on Wednesday. Temperatures are going to be in the 60s through the afternoon hours, cooling down to the 50s through the overnight. I mean, this is really warm for Christmas. Usually in Dallas, we're at least in the 40s at some point in the day, and even through the overnight hours, temperatures don't drop down to the 40s in Dallas. Moving on to look at, we're going to have to fast forward through this a little bit. I want to go to after Christmas now. Okay, here we go. Wednesday into Thursday. This is what I'm looking for. Temperatures stay warm, okay? We've got the 50s and 60s through most of the south. As you get to the north, temperatures may try to cool down a little bit. You can see this dip in the jet stream here. Those white lines are kind of dipping down a little bit. We call this a trough, and it's a pretty not terribly impressive trough, but it is enough to produce some showers and storms across Oklahoma. So by Thursday, we are expecting another round of storms to initiate over Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas. Then this will move to the east into Missouri, Arkansas, and Louisiana by late Thursday and into Friday. Now, we're still several days out from this, so I don't like to talk about storms that are so far out. We don't have a lot of good details on them. However, I want to give you a heads up that you're really going to want to watch the forecast on Thursday because we could have the potential for strong to severe storms once again. No risk right now, just something to watch for in the future after Christmas. Don't get caught off guard. Temperatures by Friday will once again be above average. Now that time in between Christmas and New Year's, what are we talking about? It's staying warm. It's staying mild. We'll say that. This entire map is covered in red because we have a really good chance of temperatures being above average. So this is your likelihood for temperatures to be above average. The darker the red, the higher the likelihood. Very, very similarly, we have a good chance for some active weather to continue. So this wet weather means that we're most likely going to have above average rainfall totals or snowfall totals, but most likely rainfall totals because those temperatures are so warm. So if you have warmer temperatures and a good amount of moisture, what does that mean? Usually a good chance for storms. Again, we're pretty far out from this, but it does make us think we got to keep an eye on the storms between Christmas and New Year's. It may be a pretty active week for us. We'll be watching it. We'll be watching those storms tomorrow as well. It does not matter if it is a holiday. It doesn't matter if it's rain or shine, we have meteorologists on duty 24/7 to watch storms and make sure that we are mapping storms. So even on Christmas Eve, we will be mapping the storms for you so that you can get out and do any canvassing that you need to do as soon as you can. We, of course, will have those maps ready for you. Hey, in the meantime, we'll be keeping our social media updated. So follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. You can also give us a call if you're interested in a hail, wind, or tornado map at 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com. Give us a click at hailtrace.com as well. We have a brand new blog over there that is really worth the read. It's extremely well written. It's about the California tornado warning that they had about a week ago. And it's a really, really great blog. All right, thanks for joining us today. But a little bit of a programming note for you. Unless something crazy happens out in Texas tomorrow, we will not have a forecast for tomorrow or for Christmas unless we have anything big to report from those storms that are expected tomorrow. So there's a small chance I'll be working tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see what those storms do. Of course, we're always watching it for you here at Hail Trace. Have a fantastic Monday afternoon. And if I don't see you tomorrow, Merry Christmas.